Good morning to you all, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are this moment. I don't land again. In case you are wondering who they here, I still remain Okute Daily Talk. If this is your first time to hear my voice, try to subscribe to this channel because now this channel where you go to find every story where you go to land in your heart anytime, any day. We give news and also with the add comedy join them so that as you read the news, you yourself for yourself by yourself go to smile and make yourself happy. Even when Nigeria don't want to make everybody happy, but at least oneness with your own self, you can as well make yourself happy, and that is why we have taken it upon ourselves, or rather, I have taken it upon myself. Say anytime we go to read my news, say your body go to jollificate, or let's say that news now the one we no even need to laugh. And I be say you no go laugh as you stand. So my good people of Biafra, if you never subscribe, I repeat myself again, go and subscribe. If you never turn on the notification button, please do that. Endeavor to do that as soon as possible. We have come again, we don't land again with another Ubonga Tori. We're there for this our table this day. Now the IPOB don't release it fresh press release concerning the what do they call it itself? Concerning the Institute for Economic and Peace, that is IEP. The index report where they give us concerning the 2022 where just finished. According to the IPOB press release, they say it's a concussion of lies and blackmail against the indigenous people of Biafra, because the report where these people give us, you know, tally with anything. When they talk, say the Westerners and the international community, the ones where Biafran they look upon, say they go intervene for this our liberation. We go talk, say these people they no love us. Half right now, some people go say we they lie to propaganda. Some even go come our comment section, they begin to abuse us, say, wait, he don't know what he's talking about. Like, Kineko. But look at it now. If we go deep into this news, we will find out that these people that you call international community that you are looking upon, that they will give us Biafra. My dear, they have no any interest of Biafra at heart. They don't even have any atom of regard for Biafra. Because of what they are getting from the Nigerian government, they don't want the Biafra to get itself. Because when we get ourselves, most of the oil theft, where they complain in this Nigeria, now the Westerners, now they do all those things in collaboration with our own government. So if we don't divide now, say, okay, Biafra, make on go on our own. These people, tell me, how are they going to achieve all the billions of dollars they have been taken from Biafra land through the Nigerian government? That is the problem we are having. And we are looking upon them, looking for where United Nations, men are going to intervene, and Nnamdi can intervene fire. Who are they going to intervene? Their human rights working committee that give Nigerian government, Fulani government 6 months. The 6 months expired since December. Today is the last day of this January. We don't enter into another year, and we are going into another new month. It's a couple of hours now. What have they done? Have they ever opened their mouth again and voiced out anything? My dear people, let us stop deceiving ourselves. The problem we are having, even in the Biafra land there, our problem today is the Westerners. The problem we are currently facing in Biafra and the why Nigerian governments have failed to give us Biafra, not that they cannot do it, but they have signed one dirty deal or the other with all these allies out there. And that is why it is very, very difficult for them to intervene in what is happening in Biafra land. Imagine the number of killings going on in Biafra land through Amufu, Uzo-Wan, and the rest of them perpetrated by Nigerian government. This is complete original genocide against humanity. Yet, they all keep silent. And you are looking for them to give us Biafra. My dear brothers, everybody na tere aka cancel ya ni Igbo ada mama. Everybody na gagere o tere aka. No be say we cannot achieve get it. We can get it mana nwanne ihe adịka ije weta ife n'ọnụ agụ. But Chukwu oke abịama will always be there to see us through and help us out. So let us go into the news of this that I have talked too much. At least I know most of us out there will also learn something from what I said, because all I'm saying here is there's no any atom of a lie in it. It's a completely truth. How can you come out and tell us that now that the whole 2022 that what terrorism the terrorists dead and people that the terrorists killed is 444. How many people died in Amufu? How many people they buried in they do mass burial in southern Kaduna and they are all Christians? How many people die in Uzuwani and the rest of them? What of the one that they killed in Imo State by Hope Uzodinma? You tell me, okay, that one, you calculate that Biafrans are the one that killed it. The question there is, Hope Uzodinma, is him for Biafra or against Biafra? The answer is, he's against Biafra. He's against IPOB. I have been doing everything humanly possible, killing the youths, all in the name of looking for Eastern security networks. My dear people, please, do not say I talk too much because that's when you know the 2022 IEP, that is Institute of what do they call it? Economic and Peace. Institute of Economics and Peace. Index report is nothing but a hatchet job, a concussion of lies and blackmail against the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB. If you are out there, please go chance go Fuma, because this news is of very, very important and you are going to learn a lot from it. Do not start the news and you do not end it. Start it from the beginning and end it so that you will understand every nose and crannies of that very news. Please, I am begging. You're watching it to the end does not give me anything, but it's for our own good. We that is in the struggle of this very Biafra Republic. The global family of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, led by our able leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, while repudiating in his entity the lies and the shameless blackmail contained in the 2022 Institute for Economics and Peace report, condemned in the strongest term possible this brazen attempt by the Institute of Economics and Peace to do a hatchet job for the Nigerian government by making itself readily available and willing to be used by the Fulani government of Nigeria as one of its international propaganda agency in an attempt to present IPOB, a non-violent self-determination movement, as being violent. This thing calls my mind back that this just concluded the African summit that happened in Washington D.C., probably maybe in the White House, where Joe Biden is congratulating our president, Muhammadu Buhari, about the peace that have been recorded in the recent Nigerian. And I ask, is it this Nigeria or do we have another Nigeria elsewhere? As if that one is not enough, they still call Buhari to go to Mauritania, Mozambique, which African country you go there? Then Abu Dhabi, or the rest of them are under African. They come gather hand together, come give them a peace award. I ask myself another question again. That peace award where they give to him, say this peace. Now for another country, I've been for this country where be Nigeria, where all of us there inside. Yeah. I don't understand though the kind of and that is what do they call it? This Blair, or what do they call him here? The USA that is doing this thing. He's already joined hand with these people, labeling the IPOBs as a violent section or whatever. But we are not. The Biafrans are known for peace, loving, and it is being the founder of the foundation of IPOB is being on the side of peace, the side of love, caring, and we stand to defend our land from any intruders and any intimidations of any kind. So, for you to hear all these things from them, giving peace award and the rest of that, and Joe Biden congratulating this man, that means they are very, very happy for what is happening in Nigeria. Because if they are not happy, you cannot tell me with their eyes open they will be congratulating somebody that the country is at. The country have never been divided in the history of Nigeria from the inception till death. Within just from the 2015 until death, the country is in the total mess, and they're giving Buhari a peace award or whatever they call it. And you tell me that the Westerners, they are not happy about the current situation of Nigeria. They are smiling. Most of them are smiling to the bank. With the unrest and insecurity in Nigeria, a lot of countries have gained billions and billions of dollars, if not trillions, from our land. It is very unfortunate to say the latest that a global organization such as Institute for Economics and Peace, IEP, a USA-based institute that have been providing measurable global terrorism index, will throw its reputation in the mud, descend so low as to publish concocted, malicious and fallacious reports in an attempt to serve the interests of the Fulani in Nigeria, thereby exonerating Nigeria as a well-known state sponsor of terrorism while blackmailing a non-violent self-determination group, IPOB, for a fee. The Institute for Economics and Peace must know that it has damaged its reputation beyond imagination, which is their inaccurate report filed with hate, falsehood, blackmail, and propaganda against IPOB. That is what they are doing. It may not be very obvious to them now, but because the institute made itself a willing tool in the hands of the enemies of Biafra and the Biafran people, this institution shall gradually lose their relevance until another more objective and reputable institute shall take their place, because they have sold their conscience for pecuniary gain. How can any sane person or institute to mention the name of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB while writing about terrorism? That is the truth too. This one it has been a planned job between the Westerners and the Fulani in Asoroko. The IEP should have asked Tony Blair Institute that became of it after turning itself into a propaganda tool for the same Nigeria government. Hell, the indigenous people of Biafra, which is led by Nnamdi Kanu, is not and has never been under any illusion that our desire for liberty and freedom will easily and readily find acceptance and understanding amongst certain Western nations, because to them, black people have no right to self-determination. That is the truth. And that is why they have built bridges and use oceans to demarcate Africans and them, because they think our life does not matter, but their own matters most. In this recently published IEP's Terrorism Index report of 2022, the current Nigerian government was clearly portrayed as having improved its propaganda and blackmail against IPOB by claiming to have a working counter-terrorism action plan in place. But the reality on the ground, depicts an entirely different picture, because the terrorism have become more embodied, more daring, and more bloodthirsty under this Buhari administration. According to the report, so they hear me very well, make it clean your ear, use cotton bud, wipe them very well, because we still have a long way to go. The total number of the dead victims as a result of terrorism in Nigeria for 2021 amounted to 448 dead. Imagine, which was lowest level, and it had been since 2011. This is another concocted lie. In one state alone, such as Benue, of course, state, and Uzuwani in Enugu state, the Fulani-sponsored terrorists, supported by the Nigerian government, have killed more than 400 civilians. Ask yourself for a moment why the IEP and the Tony Blair Institute should present such shameless and barefaced falsehood. Sebora de Yaram, please tighten your seatbelt, because Uzo Teraka. The answer lies in their interest in the zoo upcoming selection process, by which they hope to maintain the status quo, which will guarantee the continuous exploitation of the resource of the desperate indigenous nations forced into the contraception called Zoological Republic of Nigeria. That is why these Westerners agencies, funded by their respective government, can manipulate facts on the ground, manipulate the truth, and change the narrative to accord with their premeditated evil agenda and objective. Make on they hear the truth. Because it's matter now, and I can say, hey, this one, or they talk too much, it goes straight into the news. But without explaining to you what is inside the news, even if you understand, but some people will not understand. That is why sometimes we need to do some toko before we always take some news. You get the point now. The indigenous people of Biafra, led by Nnamdi Kanu, has stated for the up-10th time that we have neither interest for business with the Nigerian Jamboree selection process. The Biafran people cannot be intimidated into participating in a sham process before our self-determination struggle will gain legitimacy in the eyes of the pro-Nigerian Western government, institutions, and organizations. Instead of stating the facts and standing for the truth, once reputable IEP has decided to critically report fake information and propaganda for the Fulani government in order to deceive the gullible minds in the international community that IPOB, an unarmed non-violent freedom movement, is now the third group responsible for the death of persons in Nigeria. We are challenging IEP to present irrefutable evidence where IPOB killed any person in Nigeria. The bias and the fallacious contaminated in the IEP 2022 report is so surreal and mind-boggling in this age of each age, where informations are at our fingertips. By simply browsing the internet, the truth and the fact of the matter is that uncontrovertible. Evidence abound deprecating and recording massacres and extrajudicial executions of many IPOB members by Nigerian security agencies since 2016 and 2017. IPOB lawyers, Amnesty International in Nigeria, International Society for Civil Liberties and the Rule of Law, Inter-Society, Nigeria, many diplomatic missions in Nigeria, including even the Nigerian media, have evidences of mass killing of an unarmed IPOB members by the Nigerian government using all its security apparatus for these crimes against humanity. If we ask the IEP, what have we, the Biafra people, done wrong other than demand for an internationally supervised referendum to allow all our oppressed indigenous nations in Nigeria the opportunity to decide their fate? We are not declared the use of force as a method to achieve this demand and our ultimate goal of a free, independent, and a sovereign Biafran nation. So why all this propaganda to blackmail IPOB in the world? Irrespective of the illegal arrest, detention, torture, extrajudicial killings, including extraordinary rendition of the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya, to Nigeria, the British and the USA have never said anything. Rather, they are in the league and collaborating with the Nigerian and the international acclaimed state sponsor of terrorism, disrespecter of rule of law, and violent violator of all known fundamental human rights to fight against IPOB. Of course, can't you see Joe Biden is congratulating him? The UK is out there. King Charles is always there to welcome him into his chamber. IPOB has remained peaceful in the face of all these high levels of provocation. IPOB has a proven track record as a non-violent freedom-fighting movement with offices and family members legally operating in over 120 nations of the world, including the USA and almost all the countries of Europe. In all these nations, IPOB has been peaceful, working with the confines of the laws of our host country, law-abiding with no trace of violence. For Institute for Economics and Peace to tag IPOB as the third group that has caused the death of people in Nigeria, it is highly provocative and liberious, and indicates that the group is compromised. They have been compromised long ago. Now, it's not today that Tony Blair have started had compromised what that institute stand for. It has been long ago. It is very unfortunate that the USA government through her agency, have shown that they are working together with the Nigerian government to blackmail and prosecute IPOB members for seeking a UN-recognized self-determination through a referendum. If we are doing illegal agitation, the international economics for peace should come out and tell the world what we have done wrong instead of them to hide and plan world blackmail against a non-violent movement fighting for their people's freedom. The world is watching them and they cannot escape what is coming to them. We're gonna hear them again. Hear them very, very clear. Loud and clear. Oh. It is on record that the USA Department of State has removed Nigeria as a country of particular concern on violation of religious freedom from their 2022 and later returned irrespective of many recorded cases of Christian massacre and invasion of Christian worship centers by Islamic extremists sponsored by the state, because if the government has no hand in the insecurities, they would have found ways to stop the massacre that occurred in our Catholic Church. Fulani's launching of Lady Deborah, the young lady from Sokoto State, the recent burning of death of Reverend Father Archie of the Catholic Church in Niger State, to mention but a few examples. The massacre and the mass burial, mass killings of the Christians in southern Kaduna, it just happened around the December time. That one should also take into consideration. The inability of the Institute for Economics and Peace to even mention the Fulani terrorist herdsmen, which is the fourth most deadly terror group in the world, in their report is a clear indication of who contracted the Institute of Economics for Peace to tarnish the image of the indigenous people of Biafra. It confirmed the intel at our disposal that a sinister collaboration is going on between the Nigeria, the USA, and the British government to blackmail and discredit IPOB in the eyes of the international community, which is the only credible and unwavering mouthpiece of the oppressed nations in Nigeria, in order to continue in the implementation of the Abuja Declaration, which is essentially seeks to levy a jihad against Nigeria Christians, exterminate them, take over the ancestral lands of the indigenous people of Biafra, import foreign Fulani terrorist herdsmen from all over Africa, and establish an Islamic Republic of their country. Not Biafra land. They will never try that in Biafra. Notwithstanding very copious documented evidence of Fulani herdsmen massacre across Nigeria, including the most recent slaughter of more than 100 people in a Eha Amufu community in Biafra land by Fulani terrorists called herdsmen, the Institute of Economics for Peace did not think it's worthy of mention because, one, the victims are Biafrans, and mentioning it will defeat the purpose of the blackmail and propaganda against the IPOB. The Institute of Economics for Peace should contact some reputable organizations based in Nigeria, such as Amnesty International, and particularly the homegrown civil society organizations such as International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law, Inter-Society, Onisha, Nigeria, to get the true facts and stop being the purveyor of falsehood and propaganda for the Nigerian government. We are aware that the U.S. government has so much interest in Nigeria and the oil and gas from Biafra land, and wouldn't mind giving tactical support to a terrorist government to wipe out Biafrans and to destabilize the Biafra region. They have done it in the past against revolutionary African leaders and are still doing it as a right. It is obvious that they are not hiding their interests and bias against Biafrans. They should bear in mind that we are no longer in 1967, when the media were used to demonize Biafrans by branding our people as aggressors instead of victims. We are here to tell our own stories to the world with facts and figures. We advise the USA government to stand as a global human rights defenders to defend the rights of every world citizen and not join the oppressors to abuse the rights and privileges of ordinary citizens. All it is happening in the Fulani government of Nigeria. IPOB remains peaceful and determined in the pursuit of Biafra liberation through UN-supervised referendum. We are not going to be distracted by the sponsored blackmail and propaganda, not now and not tomorrow and not ever. The coming of the free, independent and sovereign Biafran nation is a miracle in the making. Therefore, neither the alliances of those that hate us for being Biafrans and do not wish us to exist as a people, nor all the forces of darkness shall be able to stop what Chukwuokiabiama has decreed shall come to pass, and it shall be so. So, my good people, the bottom line is free Nnamdi Kanu, free Biafran Republic, and let us do what? Let us all stand together as one and fight this cause to the end. Under what? Under peaceful protest and the rest of them. We have started it before and we can still do it again. Unarmed, no any sticky, just with your barefooted and a placard. We will air our voice to the world. That all these eyes that keep crying since, they can also see. DSA detention, it can be tough, but Nnamdi Kanu is tougher, according to the news being compiled with me here. So let us take it before we can move to other news that we have this very morning. Going by the security treatment meted to prisoners, inmates, and detainees by their detaining authority, one would agree with this fact that detention is tough. The ill-treatment, solitary confinement, starvation, and general inaccessibility to one's freedom and choices amounts to the painful past of being in detention. Nigerian detention facilities and infrastructures are as depleted and deteriorated as the country itself. An observation at some detention facilities around the country exposes these hard and unfair conditions upon which detainees are being kept. This inhuman treatment aggravates health conditions of many inmates, worsens their psychological conditions, and at several points leads to deaths of hundreds of inmates in Nigeria detention facilities. In the same vein, Nnamdi Kanu, a prisoner of conscience, who has been discharged and acquitted by Court of Appeal, a court of competent jurisdiction in Abuja, on the 13th day of October in the year 2022, is undergoing harsh and inhuman treatment from the Nigerian Department of State Service, DSS, and the federal government. The DSS have persistently refused to obey the order of the court declaring Kanu discharged and acquitted from all charges leveled against him. As if that was not enough, DSS have continued to maltreat Nnamdi Kanu using different guises, ranging from putting him in solitary confinement, denying him prescribed medication, refusal of access to his personal doctor's examination, disallowing him his religious materials, to refusing him his routine meals, and so on. This is all they have been doing to Nnamdi Kanu. This hard and harsh condition explain the fact that being in detention is very tough, especially that of Nigeria. It is a place unwanted by humans, meant to break hardened individuals, determine personalities, and so soften unyielding individuals by the use of unfair, inhuman, and unhealthy treatments. But it is not a place for innocent. Against the Nigeria's government expectations, however, Nnamdi Kanu has continued to show his preparedness, resoluteness, and resilience to these harsh and unhealthy treatments meted to him even under solitary confinement. Nnamdi Kanu have continued to prove abortive to these various mechanisms deployed by the DSS and their masters to weaken him physically, mentally. He has continued to remain steadfast to his convictions, in spite of several tactics used by the enemy to bring him down. But he said, Nehi Kaba, I'm not going to go down. Indeed, detention is tough, but here, Nnamdi Kanu have continued to show and prove that he is very much tougher and unbreakable to the meted or weakened by these inhuman conditions meted on him. His inevitable strength and determination has kept baffling the enemies into wondering and pondering on the kind of man they kidnapped, tortured, extraordinarily renditioned, and kept in solitary confinement for over a year plus. Yet, he still remains unbendable. His motivation to remain strong and focus on his cause throw his enemies into confusion and disarray. Therefore, it is time the detaining authority, DSS, and the federal government gave up on his failed suicidal mission they embarked on. Release the IPOB leader unconditionally alongside paying him his compensation as duly ordered by the United Nations Working Group and Abuja Appellate Court. A stitch in time saves 9. You get it? Free Nnamdi Kanu now and free Biafra, and let us conduct the referendum as soon as possible. The last year we have, but not the least, IPOB condemns Igbo Catholic priests murdered by Fulani Islamic extremists, urges Christians and Nigerians to rise and defend themselves. The movement and the family of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu, condemned the barbaric murder of an Igbo Catholic priest by Fulani terrorists in the northern part of Nigeria. Fulani herdsmen burnt an Igbo Catholic priest, Reverend Father Isaac Achi of St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church, to death in the Kafin-Koro community in Paikoro local government area of Niger State. Fulani herdsmen invaded the community at about 1 a.m. on Sunday and began shooting indiscriminately. It was reported clearly that the Fulani terrorists burned down the building where Reverend Father Achi had hide when they couldn't get access into the abducted access to abduct him. Even when the church members alerted the security agencies during the attack, they refused to come to his help and rescue because they know them ahead. They know themselves. Just like my sheep know me and I know my sheep. That's exactly the point. They send them and they are the ones perpetrating the act. So how do you expect them to answer to the distress call? It is imperative for Christians in Nigeria to understand that Fulani agenda with the tactic support from Fulani-controlled government of Nigeria has an agenda to forcibly Islamize and Fulanize the country. Let them Islamize Nigeria and let Biafra be on their own. Which one is their own? Say, which one is the problem? What is the problem of these people? The burning alive of Igbo Catholic priests in Niger State by Fulani terrorists is not only barbaric, but also an affront to Igbo Nation and Christian Association of Nigeria. Fulani terrorists have been killing Ndi Igbo in the north at any opportunity, and this must not continue. Catholic Church and Nigerian Christians in general must not allow the constant intimidation and the killing of Christians to continue. Christians, wake up! This one na call wake up. Now wake up call. This Fulani jihadi is directly targeted at you. The northerners don't gather. They don't say this agenda wey Tinubu have say na jihadist agenda. Say they go support them to eternity because of a Muslim this thing where they don't choose. But if you check this thing very well, so there's something people don't understand. The power that controls Nigeria is just a few people. 80% of Nigerian population is occupied by Christians. So you people should not forget this. So. But the Christians are too weak and too dull. They are too weak and too dull. Everything is we leave it to God. Everything we leave it to God. And the Fulanis keep killing them on daily basis. Have you ever seen any Muslim tell you I leave it to God? My dear, Muslims and Buddhists, they are the same. Whatever you do to them, they retaliate immediately. But our own, once they do now, they will don't revert to church and begin to pray Ekele Maria. And they keep dying on daily basis. Waiting for God to come and fight their battle. My dear, God can never do what you cannot do to your own self. I mean, what you can do to your own self, God can never come to help you. The problem we're having in Nigeria is physical. So you are asking spiritual to come and fight physical. It is not done that way. It is not. If it's a spiritual warfare, then you say, okay, let the spiritual fight the spiritual. But this one is physical. The Muslims, both the one and the top government officials, everybody just reluctantly. God will take care of everything. God will take care of everything. You are waiting for God to come and fight your physical battle. Who does that? You said that the God you worship is a spirit. And those who want to follow him also be in spirit. So this one now is a physical fight. Fight and defend yourself. Otherwise, now so on a population going to do it. It is that these people don't know that the population of Christians, we have 80 or 85% Christians in Nigeria. 80 or 85%. Who fought for Nigeria? The creation of Nigeria itself is Christians. The people who fought for the independence of Nigeria are also Christians. So few Muslims that come join together because they so much believe in this oneness. There's a very strong spirit within them. That when they see another person now, they will not. They don't even. What they have is only one religion. That is the Muslim. But look at in Christendom, an Anglican we say Catholic at now this one is an infidel. Then what about the Pentecostal churches? They will tell you people who are using rosary, they don't know God and they're worshiping idol. All in the Christendom, and that is why these people use this opportunity to enter them, because they never speak with one mind. If you go to a meeting whereby they have a deeper life, have a Catholic, have a Anglican, then have other Pentecostal churches, you find out that before the end of that thing, there must be a quarrel, simply because they are not from one faith, but they are calling the same God. Though. Now one God that they call. Though. That is why the Muslims have seen this thing and use that opportunity to enter them. Go and look at what this fake aviation minister is saying. Go and look at what he's saying. He called himself a Christian. Go and look at what is the only point he can see that he can use to bring P2B down. He said that when P2B was the president of Anambra State, that he never allowed Catholics, another denomination, to buy land and build churches. Only Christians, only assemblies, only Anglicans. Now he allow because that is his faith. That is how Christians have been divided. That is how they put confusion in their midst. And these people use it to enter them. Few people, that is the ones controlling the affairs of a whole over 216 million Nigerians. Few, 15% of Muslims. And tomorrow you come out and tell me that Christians have mouth. Where do they have mouth? Look at, they are killing them on a daily basis. The only thing you can hear is that may we leave it to God now. May we leave it to God. Everybody will just jump into church. And the church will come then dry the one where remain inside their pocket and they will go home empty. Nigerian Christians are doomed if they do not stand up to defend themselves against these murderers, Fulanist agendas. Waiting on the Nigerian security agents to defend them is committing suicide, of course. Muslims in Nigeria are all in the support of the numerous massacres and humiliation from the Fulani terrorists. Each is time Christians wake up from their slumber and realize that the Fulanization agenda is here and is no longer a secret. The present government and their society agencies are part of the agenda. That is, they will never respond to distress calls during terrorist attacks. Neither will they arrest any of the murderous terrorists, let alone prosecute them. Christians must stand up and fight against terrorists or be exterminated. The agenda is not only about religious, but it is also an ethnic cleansing agenda supported by the Nigerian government and its Fulani-dominated security apparatus. IPOB is calling on all Christians and Christian organizations in Nigeria to wake up from their silence and slumber and form a resistance group for self-defense. Otherwise, Fulani terrorists masquerading as herdsmen will exterminate them into extinction. More so, we want Igbo Christians to be ready because we cannot afford to allow Fulani to be murdering Igbo priests posted to the northern Nigeria for apostolic work by the Catholic Church. Enugu, okay, enough is enough, not Enugu, sorry. IPOB we have to put these Fulani terrorists in their place. If not, that the Nigerian army, police and DSS agents are fighting as their backup. It's obvious that Nigerian government and her security agencies are working together with the terrorists to persecute Christians and non-Fulanis in Nigeria. But their Fulanization agenda will never succeed until Biafra exists from the contraption called Nigeria. And another thing I want to pinpoint here again before I conclude this very broadcast is the one that is happening in southern Kaduna. If you check the history very well, you find out that where you can find the Hausa people now, where you can find the main Hausa, where no be Hausa Fulani or whatever they call it, is that in southern Fulani. Most of the real Hausa, they are Christians. So the remaining other places where you don't see attacks, that is where you have the real Fulanis. They don't kill themselves. They love themselves more than they love anything. So they keep on eliminating the men outside. That is how they enter the Hausa. In those days, if you say a Fulani man, I call him Fulani, the Hausa man will get angry with you and say, this is a Hausa Fulani, Hausa Fulani. That's what they keep doing, until they use brain and they eliminated all the whole prominent men in Hausa land and they occupy. Sultan of Sokoto is a complete Fulani man. All the emirs, as you can count off, all the emirs in the northern part, both north central, northwest, northeast, and northwest, all of them, they are Fulanis. They will call them Hausa Fulani. They came with evil agenda, and they have unleashed that evil agenda into the Nigerian society. That is why we are where we are today. So, my good people, according to our 8 parents, if they give you advice finish, what they will end it is, according to them. And that's where we bere ugo bere in case ibe yebe na atukwana gere nke akwakwana ya biko ya gosi nwanne ya boy ebe na o ebe o wa aka eji aga ndị Igbo. So onye furu nu ya kwara nwanne ya that ebe a na-aga tere aka and agha dị. So we should not relent. We should not do what? We should not relent. We shall don't sleep with your 2 eyes closed. Sleep with 1 eye open, because nda na akwado ihe ọzọ and ana akwado ngwa na akwado nke gị. That is what makes a man. So my dear people, this is where we are coming to the end of this broadcast. If you are not subscribed to my channel, do that as soon as possible. Make sure you turn on the notification button so that you will be notified each time I go live or post something new on this channel or any other channel. Have a nice day. May the God Almighty bless you, the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Bye for now. Okay, Messiah.